Hello, everybody. My name is Juana, and today I'm gonna talk to you about methods for measuring fabric drapeability according to companies and the apparel industry. So first off, I'm gonna tell you a little bit of introduction. So what's drape? According to the British Standards Institution of Textiles, drape is the ability of a fabric to deform when it's suspended under its own weight. Drape is unique because it allows fabric to bend in more than one direction, describing a sense of graceful appearance. Also, as the International Journal of Engineering Research and Technology said, drape influences the aesthetic appearance of a fabric and has an outstanding effect on the formal beauty of the cloth. So it is really important to analyze drape because this is what gives the flow of a dress, or it makes just the garment more flowy. All of these companies have different measuring methods. One of them is they use a drape meter, and this is characterized by the drape coefficient. This has a formula, and all of these companies use it. And I'm gonna tell you more about all of the methods, but in every single method they use the drape coefficient. And it also they also analyze the nodes and the node width, node height, node length. In the next slide, that was the second slide. Now we're going to the third slide. Many companies use something that is called conventional drape technique. One of them is the German drape meter instrument, and this one measures especially fabrics that are used in Egypt and the Middle East. So silk, because they're really thin and delicate, that they need to use this kind of instruments. It works by placing a circular fabric sample of 25 centimeters, and they place it over a support disc of 15 centimeters. The fabric will deform with a series of folds around the disc, and this is how they can see the drapeability of a textile. This was taken from the Journal of Textile Science and Engineering. On our next slide, we have the digital image drape technique. This one is more technological, and a lot of companies use it because it's more efficient. And nowadays, with fast fashion and all of this, we need something that just tests the drapeability really fast. So they use a digital camera that captures the drape image of a mounted fabric sample, again of 25 centimeters, and it's placed on a rigid support disc. And all of this, when that's happening, you can see it on the screen, and that tells you everything: the height, the length, the weight, everything. One of the digital image drape techniques, it's called DNM technology, and this was based in Korea. And it offers a computerized drape meter under the model name Drape Analyzer DM02. That one is one of the best for digital image drape techniques. And to calculate the DC, the method is based on counting how many pixels of inner and outer area of drape area the textile or fabric has. On our next slide, it's the polygon area method. This one is really interesting, I think, because you not only use your knowledge on drapeability, but you have to use your knowledge on math. So this method uses the polar diagram. It offers a pictorial representation of the drape of the fabric, and this is very innovative because it expresses drape in a numerical form. There's some equations I put on the slides, and you guys can see it, and the image also. in our previous slide, I put a really interesting video about the digital image technique, and in the previous I put a video about the conventional drape technique, which is really interesting to see it. And our next slide is one of the most used, I think, because I read in a lot of journals, and is the mannequin method. And this one is to study the fabric drapeability on width is allowance of garment, and you can test the waist, hip, and bust because it's like placed on a mannequin. This was taken from the Journal of Fiber Bioengineering and Informatics. But I found it in this journal, and it was interesting because companies wanted to make this method a little bit more like reliable. So they implemented this one, the mannequin, with the digital. So in the next slide, I'm gonna show you how. So for this method, companies have to use a lot of stuff. One of them is the low stress mechanical properties. So for example, they have to take different fabrics, let's say woven, knit, non-woven, and this will help with a correlation between fabric behavior and mechanical properties, and you can compare each drapability of each fabric. After that, the fabric drape coefficient has to be measured using the DC formula that we already learned about it. In the next slide, I put an image of mannequins with their dresses or their fabrics, and they're all different. They're all cotton or non-woven or satin, and then they took a picture of all of this and they measured it, and then on the computer it said everything. It said the length, the symmetry, everything. And then in our last slide, this study, they cut like on the inside of each mannequin, of each like fabric of the mannequin, they cut like samples, different sizes of samples, and they put it in the machine, and they compared if it's gonna like give you the same results having a mannequin and the digital or just a conventional method. And then there's another image, and it says real samples, which are the mannequins, with the fabric suspended and the dresses on the mannequins, it's gonna give you the drape amount. And same with the images that you cut, taken from the fabrics and taken from the mannequins, it's gonna give you the same thing, the drape amount. One of them takes a little bit more time, but that doesn't mean that is not reliable. So yeah, that's all the methods that companies use to analyze drapability, flow, aesthetics. That's all. Thank you guys.